This isn't an easy video for me to make, and it's probably going to be one of the hardest videos I've ever made. But I feel like that it's necessary, and I'm not going to go into like all the specific details of everything because the power isn't in what happened. It is in what I had to do to survive it. It's in what I had to do to heal and how I had to become this, I had to become a woman and grow into my own feminine energy per se. So I was a very young child. I think we all were at one point, but my childhood was it was pretty havoc. So when I was very young, I think that I was between the ages of 4, 5, and 11, 12, 13, something like that. I'd had multiple adult male figures that were in my life. I had them cross lines that they should have never, ever, ever crossed. And like a lot of people that go through similar situations, we're survivors of it. In the beginning, we don't really have the language or the words to express what's happened or how it happened. What I do know is when it happened when I was very, very young, I felt something about it was so wrong. It just felt so wrong. And I remember the incident that did happen, and it was with a family member that I trusted him. At least I thought I did. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. What I do remember about that incident that still sits with me to today is the fear that came along with it. Because I think for the first time in my short little life at that point, it was the first time I'd ever felt really feared, really scared. And I also, after things happened, I remember feeling confused and not understanding. Maybe the word is somewhat ashamed. I don't know. So after that had happened, there was some other incidents going into my preteens and my teenage years that had happened with another male figure and another one with the same male figure. And what happened was I did try to tell the adults in my life what was going on. I told them. I told my grandmother, my grandfather, and I had even told the school correctional officer when I was in high school what had happened. I think at that point I was like 15. And obviously the school called my grandmother, and my grandmother and my grandfather absolutely supported whatever I wanted to do with that choice until there was a phone call that come into my grandmother's house. And it was a family member at that time saying that if I proceeded with the direction I was going, that I was going to ruin this particular family member's life and their kid's life. So I didn't want to do that. And I think I even felt pressured into not doing that because I didn't want to hurt anybody, even though I'd been the one that had been hurting for years. And nobody truly, I don't know if they truly cared about what happened, or maybe, I don't know. But nothing was ever done about what happened to me. And for a very long time, it was made out like it was really no big deal. But to me, it was. It was a huge deal because the incidents took something from me. They took something from me growing up. They took the innocence. I grew up into an adult a lot quicker than I should have. They took the trust and trusting people. They took away the sacredness of feeling safe. It took away the sacredness of trusting somebody that says that they love you. It took so much out of me at such a young age and for so long, for so many years. So what happened in my teen years was I kind of shut down. I did. I disconnected from reality. Nobody seemed to listen. Nobody seemed to care about what happened or how I felt. And my grandparents ended up moving me to a different school further up north, Northern Virginia. And I carried that burden with me even up there, going to school and meeting new people. I was a really good student overall, so I did really well, but I still carried on this emotional adult things I shouldn't have been carrying. And because of that, I turned in every direction to to not feel that pain. And unless you've been through it, you might not really understand it, but it's a pain that nothing truly consoles. Like, it is just this deep, sickening hurt within inside of yourself that you do not know how to get rid of. So I did what a lot of people did at that point, and I turned to drugs and alcohol and boyfriends. So because of all the trauma and everything that happened, the sexual trauma that happened in my younger life, it followed me into a lot of relationships. It followed me in how I saw my body. It followed me in how I allowed people to treat me. It followed me into thinking that love was painful. It followed me into thinking that you could basically do whatever you wanted to do to me because you loved me. So for many years, for a lot of years, I tried to be very strong, and I wore a lot of resilience, or at least I tried to be resilient. But deep inside myself, I didn't feel safe. Like, I never felt safe anywhere. I never felt safe really with anybody anymore. My healing started from the childhood abuse. It started really the day that I stopped lying to myself about it. I stopped making excuses and stopped trying to protect the people that hurt me. I opened up about it, and I expressed what happened. And the day I let myself actually grieve all the years that I lost being in pain, the inconsistency of love, my own voice, my own safety, the day I allowed myself to grieve all of that was the day I started working on loving myself again, loving who I was again. That took a lot of stillness, a lot of calmness, a lot of, trauma-informed care. That it took going to therapy for years. It took talking to different types of therapists. It took Reiki sessions. It took everything. It took forever. Also, I felt like going through all this healing. But at the same time, it also reminded me that I truly wasn't broken. And we think that when all these terrible things happen to us, that we are just so broken. But the thing is, we're not truly ever really broken. We're just carrying too many burdens and too much stress on us. And yes, we might have some cracks here and there, and we might have things that we need to feel, but we're never truly broken. And so I stopped pretending that I didn't matter, that my feelings didn't matter. And I started telling myself the truth. I started telling myself, you know what? You were a child, and it was not your fault. You were a child. It was not your fault. You didn't deserve anything that happened to you. So if you have been carrying this kind of silence for your whole life, or recently, or if you're still carrying it, or if it's happening to you, or if it hasn't happened to you, or I truly just want you to know that you do not have to stay quiet about it. You should tell somebody. You should talk to, if you're a young person, you're a young adolescent, talk to somebody, talk to an adult, talk to the police, talk to anybody if things like that has happened to you. Your voice deserves to be heard, because it fucking matters. It does matter. You matter. Everything about you matter. You matter. Your voice matters. You don't have to stay quiet because you feel like that's the way to stay strong. Telling what's happened is the key to being strong. It's the key to healing. It's the key to confronting things that have happened to you. You can speak. You can shake if you have to. You can cry if you need to. But at the same time, if you let it be known what has happened to you, you can still heal. Like, you can heal from it. And I'm living proof of healing. I am living proof of that. And I'm living proof that you are just so much more. You're so much more than what was done to you.